Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, I'm really glad you decided to click on this video. Today, we're talking about someone whose name you've probably heard countless times, but whose story goes way beyond headlines and famous parents. We're diving into the life of Brooklyn Beckham, his journey, his passions, the public attention around him, and what his story can teach us about identity, pressure, and finding your own path in a world full of expectations. Now, let's be honest for a second. When you hear the name Brooklyn Beckham, the first thing that probably comes to mind is his family. Being the son of David Beckham, one of the most iconic footballers of all time, and Victoria Beckham, a global fashion icon, means Brooklyn was born into the spotlight. From the moment he was a kid, cameras followed him, people talked about him, and the world seemed to already have opinions about who he was supposed to become. But here's a question we're thinking about. How do you figure out who you really are when everyone else thinks they already know you? As Brooklyn grew up, people watched his every move. Social media amplified that attention even more. Every photo he posted, every interest he explored, and every decision he made was open to praise, criticism, and comparison. That kind of pressure can be overwhelming for anyone. Imagine trying to discover your passions while millions of strangers are watching and judging in real time. Would that push you to prove yourself, or would it make you want to disappear from the spotlight altogether? One of the first ways Brooklyn tried to carve out his own identity was through photography. What started as a personal interest slowly turned into something more serious. He studied photography, worked on projects, and shared his work publicly. And while some people were supportive, others were quick to question his talent, often comparing him to his parents' success. But here's something interesting. Creativity isn't inherited the same way fame is. Skill takes time, patience, and practice. So ask yourself this. If you were passionate about something but constantly told you only had opportunities because of who your parents were, would you keep going? Brooklyn didn't stop at photography. Over time, he explored different creative outlets, including fashion and food. Yes, even cooking became part of his journey. Some saw this as him trying to find himself, while others criticized him for changing paths too often. But isn't that something most people do, especially when they're young? How many of us truly know what we want to do for the rest of our lives at 18 or even 25? And why do we expect someone in the public eye to have it all figured out when most of us don't? His personal life has also been a major topic of public discussion. From relationships to marriage, Brooklyn's private moments often become public conversations. His relationship with Nicola Peltz, their engagement, and their wedding were celebrated by many and scrutinized by others. It raises an important question. Where should the line be between public interest and personal privacy? Just because someone is famous, does that mean every detail of their life belongs to the public? What makes Brooklyn's story relatable is that beneath the fame, there's a very human experience playing out. The desire to be taken seriously, the fear of not living up to expectations, the need to prove that you're more than a last name. These are struggles many people face, even without the spotlight. So think about this for a moment. In what ways do you feel pressure to meet expectations that others have set for you? And how often do those expectations shape your choices? Another interesting aspect of Brooklyn's journey is how social media plays a role in shaping public perception. In today's world, we're all creating personal brands, whether we realize it or not. Brooklyn just happens to do it on a much larger scale. Every post becomes part of a narrative, and every silence sparks speculation. That kind of constant visibility can be exhausting. So here's a thought-provoking question. Does sharing more of your life online bring you closer to others, or does it sometimes push you further away from your true self? Despite the criticism and constant attention, Brooklyn continues to explore, learn, and evolve. He hasn't claimed to have all the answers, and maybe that's the most refreshing part of his story. He represents a generation that's allowed to change, experiment, and redefine success on their own terms. Success doesn't always mean following in your parents' footsteps or sticking to one path forever. Sometimes, it means having the courage to try, fail, and try again. At the end of the day, Brooklyn Beckham's story isn't just about celebrity life. It's about growing up under pressure, navigating identity, and learning how to listen to your own voice when the world is loud. And I'd love to know what you think. Do you believe it's harder or easier to find yourself when you grow up famous? And do you think society gives young people enough space to grow and change without judgment? If you enjoyed this video and found it thoughtful or relatable, don't forget to like it. It really helps support the channel. Share it with someone who enjoys conversations about personal growth, fame, and modern culture. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos, just like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.